اجلاس آینده ایران در نیویورک همزمان با مجمع عمومی ملل متحد.
Dear compatriots, esteemed comrades, I'm very happy to have the honor to address a group which shares the same viewpoints concerning the most fundamental issues in our country. We all seek the overthrow of the religious fascism ruling our country, with all its faction and groupings. We all want a pluralistic republic based on the principle of separation of religion and state. We all defend, regardless of our ethnic, nationalistic, religious, or traditional origin, the territorial integrity of Iran. We all defend equal rights for all constituents forming Iran, regardless of their nationality or religion, and want to institutionalize those rights and equality in the Constitution of the Republic that will assume power after the mullah's overthrow. We all want to have a free and prosperous Iran that would spread friendship and coexistence among neighboring countries instead of warmongering and interferences in their internal affairs. Our people say to the reactionary mullahs ruling Iran, leave Syria alone, think of us. These are our collective and shared points here in this conference, far outweighing of our differences. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, all signs point to the fact that the mullah's regime has entered its final phase. This regime is facing overthrow with no exit avenue. Through sheer repression and terrorism, the mullahs try in vain to confront the explosive rage of our people from all over Iran, whether in north or south, our Kurdish, including in Kurdistan, Khuzestan, Baluchistan, and other parts of the country. Outside Iran, this regime tried to force the international community to retreat through belligerence. Iran's 35th province, and spend the country's wealth on supporting the dictatorship, there while large part of our people live under the poverty line. They consider Sanaz as the fourth regional capital under their control. Last Friday, however, after the attack on Saudi Arabia oil facilities, Khamenei representative said, and I quote, "Today Iran is not confined by its geographic borders. Today, Iraq's Popular Mobilization Unit is also Iran. The Lebanese Hezbollah is also Iran. Yemen's Ansarullah is also Iran. Syria's Patriotic Front is also Iran. Palestinian Islamic Jihad is also Iran. Palestinian Hamas is also Iran." End of quote. Meddling in other countries and export of terrorism is a pillar of the regime's strategy for survival, which the mullahs try to portray as their sign of strength. Since 1981, the Iranian resistance has been insisting that export of terrorism and fundamentalism is integral to the mullah's regime. Khamenei considers himself the leader of the Muslims worldwide. Article 11 of the regime's constitution is explicit, and I quote, The government of Islamic Republic of Iran is missioned to build its general policy on basis of coalition and union between Islamic nations and to try to contribute to the political, economic, and cultural unity of the Islamic world. End of quote. It states in Article 154 that the regime, and I quote, should support the righteous struggle of the oppressed against the arrogant power holders anywhere in the world. End of quote. Of course, the real oppressed are the Iranian people. The Iranian people who are brought to ruin thanks to this regime. The more this regime is weakened and isolated inside Iran, the more it needs of export of terrorism and fundamentalism and warmongering. This could not be further from the truth. That what they are doing is sign of weakness and not their strength. The regime would also lose its reason for existence and its driving force if it were to stop export of terrorism. Thus, it would accelerate its downfall. Far from being only a claim, it is Khamenei and other leaders of the regime who have explicitly said, and again I quote what Khamenei had said, if we do not fight in Syria, Iraq, or Yemen, then we would have to fight in Isfahan, Tehran, and Shiraz. End of quote. The regime counts on the inaction of the international community with regard to its aggression. In 2003, Iraq's gates were thrown open to the regime, and they soon turned the country through a gradual occupation to a springboard for other objectives in the region. This was a long-forgotten dream of Khomeini and the rest of the mullahs in Iran since the Iran-Iraq War in 1980 to 1988. It is not without reason that the regime officials considered themselves as the real victor of the 2003 war in Iraq. On January 11, 2019, Secretary Pompeo said in Cairo that the United States no longer cuddle the mullahs and that, and I quote, the age of self-inflicted American shame is over, and so are the policies that produce so much needless suffering, end of quote. He was right to affirm that when Americans, and I quote, partners with enemies, they advance, end of quote. The mullahs are calculating that they will not have to pay the price that they should pay for their aggression before the US presidential election. So in recent months, when attacks against oil tankers, oil facilities in the region, shooting down the American drone, and other belligerent acts have taken place, and also increased their uranium enrichment and using IR-5 and IR-6, they were emboldened to undertake a major act of war against Saudi Arabia territory when they saw no action to their belligerents. NCRI President-elect Mrs. Maryam Rajavi called this act a major step and a new phase in the warmongering aggression of the mullahs, adding that exerting power and decisiveness is the only language the mullahs understand. Inaction only emboldened this medieval regime. Ms. Rajavi added, and I quote, the ultimate solution to rid of Iran's ruling religious fascism as the source of all crisis in the region is a change of this illegitimate regime by the Iranian people and their organized resistance movement. Dear friends, the mullah's regime could and should be overthrown. This is the aspiration of the vast majority of the Iranian people. 2 years ago, a number of senior regime's officials acknowledged that 96% of the population is against them. The overthrow of this regime is within reach. Is within reach as never before. And the NCRI is determined to achieve this goal. This regime has been condemned 65 times by the different bodies of the United Nations for gross violation of human rights in Iran. 120,000 political executions, and for having imprisoned and tortured more than 500,000 people for their political beliefs. Hassan Rouhani admitted during the regime's elections that in 38 years they had done nothing but execution and imprison the Iranian people. That's his own admission. The world is aware of the massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in 1988. But this was not Mullah's sole massacre. The massacre in Qarena in Kurdistan, the massacre of our Arab compatriots, the killing of the Baluchis and the Turkmens and the Sunni Muslims cannot be forgotten, nor can the egregious violations of women's rights and the criminal act of this regime against Christians, priests, and Jewish and Baha'i citizens. None of them can be forgotten. A regime claiming to be God's one and only representative on the earth has bombed the house of God in Mecca in 1986, 1987, and massacred God's pilgrims. Simultaneous with the UN General Assembly, when the world leaders are present here, and as Mrs. Rajavi has urged, we call on the international community to act consistent with the UN Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as well as international law. Therefore, it should acknowledge the right of the Iranian people, all the freedom fighters, the PMI, the Peshmergas of freedom, to overthrow the religious fascism ruling Iran. Expel this regime from the United Nations. This regime has usurped Iran's seat and has brought nothing but shame to the United Nations. Previous UN Security Council resolutions on the mullah's nuclear weapons and the ban on uranium enrichment should be reinstated. The UN Security Council should refer the regime's human rights record and its other crime, especially the massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in 1988, to the International Criminal Court. The United Nations should immediately and firmly condemn the regime's recent aggression and belligerence in the region. The regime's regional adventurism should be halted, and the IRGC and its mercenaries should be expelled from Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Afghanistan under Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. Given the activities of the regime's mercenaries in the US and its unleashed terrorism in Europe, the IRGC, the Terrorist Codes Force, the Ministry of Intelligence and their commanders and agents should be included in the UN terrorist list. Islamic fundamentalism and the caliphate, under the guise of Islam, be it Sunni or Shiite, is a global threat whose heart beats in Iran under the rule of the mullahs. A threat we have exposed and warned about since 3 decades ago. For the sake of peace and democracy, and for freedom and equality, we are all in need of an international coalition against the religious fascism ruling Iran. The National Council of Resistance of Iran called for building a society based on freedom and with clear demarcations with dictatorship, gender, ethnic, and class discrimination. We advocate a non-nuclear Iran seeking peaceful coexistence through international and regional cooperation. We are convinced that Iranian society can be relieved of the poverty, unemployment, lack of housing, water shortages, and environmental disasters. But the prerequisite to return and to establish the people's sovereignty to their rightful owners, the Iranian people. This is the starting point and the raison d'etre for us and our resistance. I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fیروز دانشگری. I truly appreciate the gathering of all the delegates who are calling for change of regime in Iran. We are bonded by our Iranian heritage, and we have a shared responsibility toward the people of Iran to help free Iran move the country toward a republic form of government and keeping the entire country united and ensure its territory reserved as it is today. I am a surgeon scientist and a professor, but I'm also a former political prisoner. My eyes, my minds, and my bodies have witnessed how this regime treats political prisoners. I have the scars of the torture on my body that I've carried for over 30 years. Especially those political prisoners who are affiliated with the Mujahideen Khalq, MEK. I know because as a physician, I risk my life to treat them and to defend them, and some of their members died on my laps. While I treated their gunshot wounds inflicted by IRGC, I have seen many, many occasions of who this regime is that I can't describe in simple words. Today, I represent an international medical foundation named MD Aid, Physicians Aid, which focuses on supporting victims of torture and political prisoners who were forced to flee their homeland as refugees and settled in North America and Europe. For years, the world community believed this regime can change from within. This deceitful promise of the so-called moderates and reformists has cost thousands of innocent lives in Iran and the entire regime in the Middle East. The economic corruption and embezzlement by the regime officials have led to a health crisis for people of Iran. Recently, a desk that a person who had interviewed over 3,000 people who had sold their kidneys to survive, and he titled the title of his research as "The Cost of the Kidney in Iran is Less than 3 ounces of pistachios in some of the cities." The other incompetence and incapable mullahs blame the medical crisis on the sanction, and that is not farther than truth than this. This is yet part of the ongoing deception and propaganda by this regime. Let it be very clear that within the shortage of, with the shortage of medicine, has nothing to do with the sanctions. It has all to do with this criminal mafia regime of mullahs and its IRGC that has brought such crisis on people of Iran. They ship the medication, the medical supplies, and the resources that belong to Iranian people to Syria, to Iraq, and to Yemen. As we watch the protest in Iran, people are shouting, "One less embezzlement, our problem can be solved." This regime is riddled with the scandals, fraud, and embezzlement from the top of the house, starting with Khamenei himself and his office, to the bottom feeders of IRGC and Basijis. They're ripping off Iranian people from their resources. Iran's health sector is hurting because of this regime, not because of the sanctions. I have no doubt the brave men and women of Iran will bring this regime down along with the organized resistance movement and the units of MEK. We only need one day of voting in Iran to show this regime who the Iranian people love. We can and we must come together united in support of regime change in Iran by the Iranian people. We can and we must raise above the propaganda and fake news that this regime unleashes on us. Iran is the prettiest land, is one of the most unique countries in the Middle East that has such a rich ethnical and religious diversity. For all the major social movements, starting with the constitutional movement back about 110 years ago from my land, from Azerbaijan, I'm one of the descendants of Sattar Khan, to the uprising of the 73-79 revolution, to the protests of 1980s, 1999, 2009, and the current movement since 2017, we have shown the world that we can come together in rejection of this clerical regime, just as the people rejected dictatorship of Shah. We have come together We've come together at Azeris, Kurds, Yashasin Azerbaijan. Arabs, Baluchis, Persians, and other ethnic groups. And we are here to be united against the regime. No separation between us. The only enemy is the regime. So let's unite together in exile to bring our motherland, give them the helping hand, and come together on the 10-point plan proposed by Mrs. Rajavi for a free Iran. It is truly the basis for the most modern Iran. Let's come together and rebuild our homeland with the best and the brightest. But first, we must focus on making regime change in Iran a reality starting today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, thank you very much. My fellow Iranians, Iranian Americans, delegates, and distinguished guests, it is my privilege and honor to speak to you on behalf of the Organization of Iranian American Community, who for more than 25 years has been primarily focusing on echoing the voice of Iranian people as they struggle for human rights and democracy in our native land, Iran. Over the last century, Iran has seen two brutal dictatorships under the Pahlavi's monarchy, which in collaboration with the mullahs worked against the democratic and nationalistic government of Dr. Mossadegh. And now we're dealing with a misogynist regime since 1979, the religious fascists of mullahs, who are incapable of reform or even engaging in a meaningful way with the Iranian people or for the rest of the world for that matter. When it comes to this regime, because this regime believes in the system of velayat faqih, this regime is committed and remains committed to the system of velayat faqih. And that means is an absolute power that is only for non-elected male clerics according to the regime's constitution. Let us be very clear. Iranian people's rejection of both monarchy and mullahocracy is based on historic lessons from their struggle for freedom and democracy over the last several decades. This is not a partisan preference. It is simply the reality of Iran's recent history. The 1979 revolution in Iran is Iran's historic rejection of monarchy. While the mullahs have hijacked the revolution, the waves of popular uprising in rejections of the mullahs during the 1980s, the 1990s, and most notably the 2009 and 2018 is the ongoing rejection of this regime in its entirety. People of Iran are not making a distinction between the so-called reformers and hardliners, so why should we? This red line has been drawn by the blood and sacrifices of more than 120,000 martyrs for freedom in order to move Iran away from despotism of the past and the religious tyranny of the present. Therefore, it is our red line too. And crossing of this red line under whatever pretext is unacceptable because it is undermining the true democracy movement in Iran. The international community has not yet recognized the depth and the extent of the ongoing crimes against the people of Iran, especially the 1988 massacre of political prisoners. In our view, just as the mayor said, Khamenei, Rohani, Zarif, Qasem Soleimani, Ebrahim Raisi, after 4 decades of execution and oppression, war, terrorism, subversion, mayhem by the terrorist IRGC and the Ministry of Intelligence are all international criminals and must stand trial in the international tribunals and courts. All of us are gathered here. All of us are gathered here agree that the Iranian regime is the enemy, not just the Iranian people, but also the rest of the world. We agree that this regime must go. We also agree that it is up to the Iranian people and their organized opposition movement who shall and will bring this regime down in its entirety. We have also gathered here to emphasize on the path forward for the free Iran. OIAC stands for a non-nuclear, democratic, secular Republic of Iran based on the following key principle. 1, in a free Iran, only the ballot box determines the legitimacy of the future government. Freedom of speech, expression, association, and religion for all Iranians, and equal rights for all ethnic groups in the framework of Iran's territorial integrity is a must in a free Iran. We are all standing for a territorial integrity of Iran. We are Iranians first, and we want this regime down together. And if anyone has any doubt that we cannot do this, I would invite them to look into the Mujahideen Khalq, where the Baluchis, the Kurds, the Turks, the Fars, all of them, all the Iran ethnic groups have come together under one banner of Mujahideen Khalq, fighting against this regime. We have done it before. We have done it before. And Iran will do it again. Iran will do it again because of the National Council of Resistance and the platform that has represented the diversity of Iran. This is our strength. We will not let the regime colonize our ethnic groups. Moving on, in a free Iran, complete gender equality in all political, social, cultural, and economic spheres. Women of our native land are on the forefront to overthrow this misogynist regime, and we stand with them wholeheartedly. In a free Iran, women will have their own right to choose their clothing, and any exploitation of women under whatever pretext will be rejected. In a free Iran, we would have commitment to Universal Declaration of Human Rights and all international covenants. In a free Iran, death penalty will be abolished. No more political prisoners, no more political prisoner of conscience, as they would be released after the downfall of this regime. The path to progress and prosperity in a free Iran is based on the following. 1, justice and equal opportunity in employment and occupation is imperative for all Iranians in a free market economy. Cronyism, nepotism, corruption, or the mafia style of government shall not be acceptable. 2, the rights of workers, farmers, nurses, employees, teachers, educators, retired people will be upheld and respected. And the diaspora, and this is all of us, the diaspora will have a great duty of reversing the brain drain and support the rebuilding of Iran based on progressive labor laws and rights. Forced child labor must be abolished. The future future of Iran's youth will be in a high-quality education so that Iran can develop the next generation of workforce and scholars to thrive and contribute in the modern world. Iranian scientific community shall focus on humane advancement of technology, knowledge, innovation, and infrastructure for improving the lives of Iranian people. No more weapons of mass destruction, and we stand for a non-nuclear Iran. Iranian scientific community shall also focus on reversing the environmental crisis, water shortage, on natural floods, earthquakes, through utilizing best practices in order to reverse the damage done under this criminal regime. Iran shall live in peace and coexistence and cooperation and mutual respect with its neighbors and the international community. No more regional meddling and no more support for terrorists or the extremist groups. So at this point, I'll ask all the delegates to take a moment and envision an Iran based on these principles and a path to recovery. An Iran that is worthy of our heritage, our history, and the sacrifices made to date. To get there, we must refrain from divisiveness. We need to aim all of our energies and efforts to change this regime first. In 2002, the head of National Council of Resistance of Iran, Masoud Rajavi, announced the NCRI's plan for promoting the National Solidarity Front to encompass all Iranians and political entities who reject the monarchy and the system of Velayat Faqih and are campaigning for a democratic, independent, and secular republic to come together. This call was faced with overwhelming misinformation and disinformation campaign by regime cronies and the MOIS agents. For too long, Iranian regime's lobbyists and apologists have worked to divide us by propagating falsehood and smear campaigns, lies and propagandas. This must stop. We must put an end to disinformation campaign and the echo chamber against the MEK and the NCRI. That's right. We will end this. This regime change movement inside Iran is growing stronger day by day because of the MEK's resistance unit and their ongoing effort that is expanding to organize the public. We can do the same in exile. This means we need to be entirely focused on the threat of the Iranian regime and the need to overthrow this regime of all the factions within this regime. We need not to be distracted by the regime's ongoing propaganda as we push for further isolation of this regime, as we push to provide support for regime change by Iranians. We must demonstrate political maturity and commitment to these principles. Commitment to these principles and be fully committed to them, which can guarantee an enduring and effective unity against this regime. And I am hopeful that we will get there in solidarity, which did not begin today. It's been going on for the last 40 years because of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. Thank you very much.
مصاحبه ژنرال جکین با فاکس نیوز. اتحادی در سطح بین المللی علیه رژیم ایران ایجاد شده که تا چند هفته پیش وجود نداشت. اشتباه نکنید، رژیم ایران با وجود تمامی تبلیغاتی که می کند پای میز مذاکره نخواهد آمد. آنها به تشدید تضاد ادامه خواهند داد. این نقشه مسیر آنهاست. فاکس نیوز. شورای ملی مقاومت ایران این هفته چندین تظاهرات در مقابل سازمان ملل برگزار کرد. ژنرال جکین، معاون پیشین رئیس ستاد ارتش آمریکا، طی مصاحبه‌ای با فاکس نیوز گفت بعد از حملات رژیم ایران به تأسیسات نفتی عربستان، اتحادی بین المللی علیه این رژیم ایجاد شده که تا چند هفته پیش وجود نداشت.
Well, Iran has denied it launched those missiles. It claims some observers consider a laughable lie. We will likely hear more about Iran's aggression and a call for a global action similar to the president's. When Saudi Arabia addresses the United Nations General Assembly, their turn is on Monday. For more on this, let's turn to General Jack Keane, chairman of the Institute for the Study of War and a Fox News senior strategic analyst. General Keane, we just heard the minister quite eloquently and passionately sound the warning. An end to appeasement, he says. But do you think the Europeans especially will listen?
Yes, I think so. I mean, President Trump, the United States, had probably the best UN General Assembly meeting we've had since post 9/11, and one of the reasons for that is this incredible debacle that the Iranians have executed literally 10 days prior to the UN General Assembly, where most of the presidents of the world are gathering. They conduct an attack on one of the largest oil fields in the world to destabilize the world economy, and then they try to get away with it by lying when knowing full well evidence is going to be able to be presented, and evidence was presented. So now there's condemnation of Iran, there's more isolation of them politically, diplomatically, and economically than before the conference began. So this is a good thing that's happened here in the sense that the world is coming together to deal with this in a way that Foreign Minister is talking about, al-Jubeir, who I happen to know, and he's a very good person here in terms of his knowledge of the world, and certainly he's very clear-eyed about the Iranians, and he's dead right. Appeasement has been the path we've been on, and that doesn't serve us well. The sanctions is not appeasement. That comprehensive sanctions that we're imposing, and now that France, UK, and Germany are willing to get involved in as well, is very significant. Sort of plays like this, most of the countries will agree that Iran is an aggressor and their behavior has to change. They'll agree on condemning their behavior. So that's kind of the order as I see. But generally speaking, the unanimity now on Iran's aggressiveness is certainly there. That was not there a couple of weeks ago.
That the largest Iranian opposition group, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, they had a rally, several rallies at the United Nations this past week. You, in fact, spoke at one of their rallies. We're looking at one of them right now.
No, yes, they're trying to destabilize the world economy. But I am very comfortable with our intelligence agencies' conclusion that Iran struck those oil fields. They flew the drones. They flew the cruise missiles. Make no mistake about it. The Iranians are not coming to the negotiation table yet, despite the advertisement they throw out there. They are going to continue their kinetic escalation. That is the playbook and the path that they are on. And we're going to see another escalation, probably something along the same lines, or if not more significant, because they're convinced that the only way they're going to bring the United States to stop those sanctions is by imposing a major world crisis to put that kind of pressure on the United States.
با سلام خدمت بینندگان گرامی، خبرهای این ساعت را ادامه می‌دهیم. وزرای خارجه امارات، بحرین و یمن در سخنرانی‌های خود در مجمع عمومی ملل متحد تجاوزگری و جنگ افروزی منطقه‌ای رژیم آخوندی را محکوم کردند و خواستار مقابله بین‌المللی با این رژیم شدند. وزیر خارجه امارات متحده عربی گفت برجام نتوانسته مانع جاه طلبی‌های اتمی رژیم ایران بشود و هر توافقی با این رژیم باید تمام وجوه رفتاری این رژیم از جمله دخالت در امور داخلی کشورها، توسعه موشک‌های بالستیک و تغذیه تسلیحاتی گروه‌های تروریستی را در بر بگیرد.
وزیر خارجه بحرین نیز در اجلاس مجمع عمومی گفت ما از شورای امنیت ملل متحد می‌خواهیم که به مسئولیت خود قیام کند و برای برقراری صلح و امنیت موضع قاطعی در قبال اقدام جنایتکارانه رژیم ایران در حمله به تأسیسات نفتی عربستان اتخاذ کند. وی افزود تنش‌ها در خلیج فارس نتیجه سیاست‌های زهراگین رژیم ایران است. توافق جدید با رژیم ایران باید مانع برنامه اتمی این رژیم شود و برنامه موشکی و سیاست مخرب آن در منطقه را پوشش دهد.
وزیر خارجه یمن در سخنران خود در مجمع عمومی ملل متحد گفت رژیم ایران حوثی‌ها را به کار گرفته تا به عنوان سردمدار تروریسم در جهان سیاست توسعه طلبانه خودش را از طریق آنها در یمن پیش ببرد. وزیر خارجه یمن خواهان مقابله جامعه جهانی با دخالت‌های رژیم شد و گفت باید به کودتای شبه نظامیان این رژیم علیه یمن پایان داد.
به گزارش الربیعی، موفق الربیعی مشاور امنیتی مالکی در لندن زیر گرفته شد.
الربیعی گزارش کرد موفق الربیعی مشاور امنیتی مالکی سردشخیم پیشین عراق در لندن زیر گرفته شده و دچار شکستگی‌های متعدد شده است. وی میگوید دست کم 8 شکستگی در سمت راست بدنش ایجاد شده است. الربیعی به نقل از موفق الربیعی خاطر نشان کرده است مقامات همچنین در مورد علت این حادثه و مجریان آن تحقیق می‌کنند و به زودی همه چیز روشن خواهد شد. در صورتی که ادعای موفق الربیعی درست باشد، به نظر می‌رسد رژیم با همان الگوی سعید امامی و دلیلی به از دور خارج کردن مزدوران مستعمل و تاریخ در رفته مبادرت کرده است تا جنایت‌هایی که به دستور رژیم انجام داده‌اند مکتوم بماند. موفق الربیعی جاسوس کهنه‌کار انگلیسی بود که در عراق مورد استفاده مشترک رژیم آخوندها و سرویس‌های استعماری علیه مجاهدین قرار گرفت. عراقی‌های ملی‌گرا از موفق الربیعی می‌خواستند پاسپورت انگلیسی خود را نشان بدهد، اما او که به عضویت شورای حکومتی عراق گماشته شده بود، آن را انکار می‌کرد. جاسوس مزبور در مقام مشاور امنیتی نخست وزیر ادعا می‌کرد که در قرارگاه اشرف فقط 20 نفر رهبرانی هستند که مغزشویی می‌کنند و باید آنها را کشت تا بقیه مجاهدین تسلیم شوند. اما مجاهدین محاصره شده در اشرف با قبول همه خطرات جاسوس دو جانبه ارتجاع و استعمار را بر جای خود نشاندند و با افشاگری‌های پیاپی او را به برگ سوخته‌ای در عراق تبدیل و به زباله‌دان تاریخ انداختند. در روز 8 فروردین 88 علی لاریجانی رئیس مجلس رژیم با مزدوران عبدالعزیز حکیم، هادی آمری و موفق الربیعی مشاور امنیتی مالکی در تهران دیدار کرد و سیاست سرکوب و انهدام مجاهدین را از جانب ولی فقیه ارتجاع و عوامل عراقی رژیم ابلاغ کرد. 4 روز بعد در 12 فروردین 1388 موفق الربیعی در مصاحبه‌اش با الفراد گفت خط ما این است که به تدریج زندگی و حضور مجاهدین را در اشرف برای آنها غیر قابل تحمل کنیم، چون اینها برای امنیت ملی ایران خطر هستند. خط ما این است که به تدریج نیروهای امنیتی عراق وارد این قرارگاه بشوند، نقطه کنترلی برپا کنند، گشت دایر کنند، بازرسی کنند و دست به حمله بزنند.
خطوات متصاعده و بتوأده يعني نجعل وجودهم في العراق غير لا يمكن ان يتحملوه. هؤلاء خطر على الأمن الوطني الإيراني. ولكن بشكل تدريجي احنا يعني القوات الأمنية العراقية تدخل المعسكر، تعمل سيطرات، تعمل يعني دوريات، تعمل تفتيش، تعمل مداهمات، لأنه
ادامه خبرها. شکست سفر روحانی به نیویورک به نگرانی‌ها و مخاصمات درونی رژیم دامن زده است. روزنامه حکومتی مردم سالاری از باند روحانی می‌نویسد: حالا که با دست خالی از مجمع عمومی بازگشته ایم، باید بدانیم که علیرغم دعوت از همسایگان عرب از جمله امارات و عربستان و بحرین، پاسخ آنها به ما منفی است. به خصوص اینکه بعد از حمله حوثی‌ها به بقیق و خریس، نفرت و ترسشان نسبت به ما بیشتر شده است. سفیر سابق رژیم در مقر اروپایی ملل متحد فیروز نیز نسبت به دور شدن کشورهای اروپایی از رژیم اشاره کرده و می‌نویسد: اگر اروپا به مسیر خود ادامه دهد و آمریکا حاضر به لغو تحریم‌ها نباشد، برجامی باقی نخواهد ماند و باید پذیرفت که پیچ و مهره‌های برجام سست شده و در آستانه فروپاشی است. محب علی مدیر کل سابق وزارت خارجه رژیم نیز نوشته است: با خروج اروپایی‌ها از برجام، نظام در سیاست خارجی و اقتصاد در شرایط پیچیده‌تری قرار خواهد گرفت و دامنه انتخاب‌هایش کمتر خواهد شد. به همین خاطر نظام باید به نوعی با اروپایی‌ها به تفاهم برسد.
از سوی دیگر کیهان خامنه‌ای با حمله به باند روحانی می‌نویسد: هر زمان که باید گریبان آمریکا و اروپایی‌های بدعهد را گرفت، جریان خاص در داخل عصا زیر بغل آمریکا و اروپا می‌گذارد و اکنون این جریان به دنبال زمین چینی برای مذاکرات مجدد با آمریکا هستند تا این بار قدرت منطقه‌ای و موشکی ما قربانی شود. کیهان همچنین خطاب به باند رقیب نوشت: سوال این است که آیا کارشکنی آمریکا در صدور روادید به هیئت جمهوری اسلامی و در ادامه بیانیه گستاخانه اروپا و در نهایت ممانعت از ملاقات جواد ظریف از تخت روانچی نشانه تنش‌زدایی و آمادگی برای مذاکره است؟
در پی وقوع یک سرقت در شهرک غرب تهران فاش شد که یک نماینده مجلس ارتجاع در خانه‌اش 250,000 یورو و 400 میلیون تومان پول نقد نگهداری می‌کرد. یک رسانه حکومتی نوشت: یک عضو مجلس از یک شهر کوچک مبلغ 400 میلیون وجه نقد و 250,000 یورو را در منزلش نگهداری می‌کرده که اکنون طعمه سارقین شده است. در نمونه دیگری از چپاول‌های کارگزاران رژیم، یک عضو مجلس ارتجاع از اختلاس و دزدی آخوند موسوی لاری، وزیر کشور سابق رژیم خبر داد و نوشت که موسوی لاری تحت لوای یک مؤسسه خیریه یک ملک در تجریش را که برای امور فرهنگی وقف شده بود را به ساختمان مسکونی تبدیل کرده است.
بر اثر برملا شدن پی در پی چپاول‌های حکومتی، جلسه روز یکشنبه مجلس ارتجاع بر سر دزدی‌ها و جنگ قدرت و ثروت متشنج شد.
نمایندگان نظر خودتون اعلام بفرمایید.
تذکر
بابا فوریت چه تذکری داره؟ فوریت رأی نده. متشکرم. متشکرم. نمایندگان محترم نظر خودتون اعلام بفرمایید.
تذکر دارم.
فوریت چه تذکری داره؟
فرمودید بعد از
فوریت چه تذکری داره آخه؟ وارد نیست. متشکرم. نمایندگان محترم نظر خودتون اعلام کنید.
آقای پزشکیان شما وقت ما رو گرفتید، ضایع کردید.
اونجا داد نکش، بشین سر جات. وقتو بیا نگاه کن. تخلف شما میکنید که اضافه حرف میزنید. پایان رأیگیری رو اعلام میکنم. پایان رأیگیری تصویب.
آخرین خبر این ساعت: در ادامه اعتراضات در هنگ کنگ، خیابان‌های این شهر روز یکشنبه شاهد درگیری‌های شدید میان معترضان با ماموران پلیس بود. پلیس برای متفرق کردن تظاهر کنندگان گاز اشک‌آور به کار برد و شماری از معترضان را دستگیر کرد. بینندگان عزیز، اخبار این ساعت در اینجا به پایان رسید.
خدا نگهدارشون.